has done a good job to let its allies know that this is just an internal crisis, a bunch of, quote, terrorists that are trying to disturb the peace. And we see a number of countries that have taken what I call stock in trade to promote this concept of peace on the ground. We have, we could list a litany of countries that are currently working in Cameroon, and their goal is peace. So is Biya succeeding? And is that why there has been such a poor response to what has been defined as a genocidal war? What else needs to be done to bring the same level of international outcry attention on what essentially is this pernicious tool of erasure to the point of human
victims all the way. And secondly, by these victims, we call them refugees, but at the same time they are victims. Secondly, there is no such thing as an internal crisis when crimes against humanity are committed.
Chief, I want
There's
you
no
to
such
talk.
internal crisis when war crimes are committed.
Elaborate on
There's
that.
nothing as internal crisis when genocide is committed. If we're internal crisis, the international committee will not have gone to Rwanda.
So what I hear you say,
they will not have gone to the Congo. They will not have gone to Sierra Leone. They will not have gone to Central Africa once crimes against humanity are committed. As a matter of international law, as a matter of customary international law itself, indeed, there is no such thing as internal crisis when these crimes have been committed, and for which the Republic of Cameroon itself have consistently shown the impunity of Biya in his end of year species, admitting and saying that he's going to direct soldiers to commit more.
So how do you explain the silence then of the international community following your reasoning?
The voice of victims has not been heard enough. First, we allow them to define that only 3,500 people have been killed.
I think they've been very generous. They have upped the number to 4,000.
Okay.
They have been extremely generous.
They are the ones now telling us how many refugees are there that in Nigeria or internal displaced. It is their narrative that is being
not the narrative of the
victims themselves. You need not record statement from all the victims, but a number of people are found. They've gone to Nigeria and other places where they are victims, and some have met the victims back home. They have been able to bring out their voices, and it makes a difference. For example, I followed one interview, one statement you made when a group of women met in Yaoundé and said they were talking about peace, and you issued a statement, and after gave an interview.
You mean Women for Permanent Peace and Justice?
Yes. And you said clearly there that look, we should be looking at sex and gender-based crimes against women. You have to see crimes committed against children on a widespread and systematic scale. We have to look at this. And that you cannot meet in Yaoundé, hold a meeting, talk about peace in the abstract, where the real victims are not even considered, and the crimes, you don't want to call the crime by their name. In international law, we have what we call fair labeling. If you do not call the crimes by their names and identify the perpetrators, there is no way by which you can ever do justice. There's the way we're able to know what you are talking about. And that's why, of course, I've seen an attempt by Women for Permanent Peace and Justice. I've seen some of the language for some of our leaders and others. They are beginning to call the crime by their names, and the victims, not necessarily refugees. The refugees, the voice of refugees, and the voices of those people who are dead. You, the diaspora and other groups and other people, you are there to energize and to give power to the voice of the dead from their graves to the rest of the world. It is when you highlight not just the plight of refugees per se, who went to see refugees in Nigeria, but also to start saying, yes, they are dual status. Because refugees could well be escaping from war. And it happens all the time. They're escaping from war. But when these people were also victims, women to say they raped me, they took my child, they burnt my father and others in the house. My name is also come from this location. From this location, we'll have this number of people. They need to see this number of people. They have to know the story. So, but when you talk in general terms, the refugees per se, there are thousands of millions of refugees, some are economic refugees going across the Sahara Desert. I have advocated in them when during the elections in Nigeria, in Oyo State, I was invited to speak to the campaign team of the governor, Basiki, and raise an alarm about the number of girls from Oyo State and men and boys going across the Sahara Desert and dying in the Mediterranean. So we must call it by its name. These are crimes against humanity, and the people must be sought. And that when you're going to the ICC, because the people sinking the ships in the Mediterranean, killing these people, are Italy, France, these European countries, their navy, you must be in a position to call it. And the governor started action even before the federal government started taking action. In our own case, it is a question of fair labeling. These are refugees. They are not just people who fled from the war on their own. The case of Manfred, luckily will have the decision signed by this bureau. The case of the people whose homes, where is the video of deportation? They burned down 500 or something villages. And therefore, where did these people go? Like people will say, oh, they're internally displaced, they're in Liberia, Cameroon. The fact is that many of them, either in Liberia, Cameroon, other places, the people call the civil society on the spot purporting to do Amazonia are they are doing economic civil society advocacy. Because I've not seen a single report prepared by any of them that clearly does what we call fair labeling, calling the crimes by what it is. It is just enough for them to say these people were killed by non-state actors.
Exactly.
These people were killed by unidentified people. These people, you can't build a case file. We rejected, because some of them are first responders, but in the course of the cases we do, rejected source reports. Because source report, we call this type of people economic civil society advocates. It has nothing to do with the victimization of the people.